Well, welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started. Okay. It is July 10th, 2025. I have a sweatshirt on because it's 900 degrees outside. And I've cooled it off a little too much in here, but that keeps me awake and energized. The heat just zaps me. First world problems, right? So grateful to be here. So grateful to have the opportunity to share this information with you today. For those of you who don't know me or my story, my name is Kristy Kuhl. I'm a high performance coach. I am incredibly passionate about helping people align with their truth, design a life that is for them, their definition of success, get their stuff done as quickly as possible in the right way so that they have more time, more energy um, for the people and the things that they truly care about. And so my background, I spent 15 years in the disruptive medical device space. Is an incredibly competitive environment. And if you are in the sales industry or are familiar with sales, like everybody has a different sales cycle. Sometimes companies will be running off of a 12-month sales cycle. Those that are more aggressive are running off of 12 weeks. And so that's in my veins now. And it served me very well. It's like literally I can get done in a year. It takes a lot of people a year. I can get that done in 12 weeks time and have a lot of frameworks in order to do so. And when I thought about, this year, 2025, I committed to you to do a free coaching call every single month. And I thought, okay, what do I want to talk to them about for this month of summer, for being in July, being halfway through summer. And the first thing that popped into my head was the day that I realized that if you take summer off, you've essentially taken a quarter of the year off. And that, I don't know why it took somebody saying that to me several years ago for me to realize that, but I wanted to share that with you as well. A lot of people, their pipeline slows down, their progress slows down. No matter what your pipeline is, if you're building a body, if you're building a business, if you're building a sales pipeline, doesn't matter what that is for you. But if you realize that you take summer off, you've taken essentially a quarter of the year off. It could probably explain if things slow down for you. I don't know what your cycle is, but if things shift and change in fall or next year or whenever your pipeline slows down, it may be what it is that you do over the summer months. And it could be affected if you don't take it off either, if you just slow down on the activities that are the most important activities that drive the results. Um, I feel like oftentimes we're looking for opportunities to give ourselves permission to rest and to take a break. And as a high performance coach and just as a high achiever, high performer my entire life, that was me for the longest time until I learned how to give myself rest throughout the process so that I didn't have to be up against a wall in certain periods where I didn't seem like I had an option. I just had to take a break. Now, in saying all of this, if you are at a point in your life where you feel like you need a break, please take the break. If you need to take summer just to coast, if something has happened, if you're going through something major or you are just incredibly tired, please take the break. Please take the time. You will come back. Nothing is more important than your health. All right. For everybody else, we're just trying to figure out, like, how do I stay focused? The kids are home, it's summer, I have a boat, I want to travel. There's all these other things that I want to do. I just want to bring you back to some basic fundamentals that will absolutely change your life from today moving forward. And you can always come back to this recording. You can always come back and calibrate to this. I believe that freedom is earned through having clarity of what's important and the discipline to get those things done. If you followed me for any length of time, it can appear as if I'm wound tighter than a drum and very focused, and that is true. That is true for part of the time. I like to be like that. My brain kicks in at a whole different level when I'm that focused, and there's no distractions, there's no ringing, there's no dinging. And if I do that the right way, then the other part of the day or the other part of my life or the weekends, whatever it is, that other part, I don't even know where my phone is. I'm blowing around like an autumn leaf. My heart is open. I am, and I love to be in that space too, but I can't have all the things that I want and I can't impact the people in the way that I want to and the number of people if I don't have that period of time of the focus and the discipline. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, just bringing it back and using summer, using this time right now as a separator for you to get ahead of the competition, to get ahead of where you normally are during this period of time, whatever that looks like for you. So the first thing that I want you to do, I'm going to give you two options here. There's a basic and there's an advanced, and one's not any better than the other. It really is just a matter of where you are in your life right now. So I want you to think for a second. I want you to think back to a time, and you may be in it right now. This may be the best time of your life. You may be getting the best results of your life, or you may not be. Chances are, if you're here, you're not. You want to calibrate a little bit, and that's okay. We all get off just a little bit, including myself. So what I want you to do is I want you to think back to the best season of your life. Things are flowing, your conversations are amazing, your relationships are amazing. If you're in sales, everybody's saying yes to you. If you work in a corporate environment or for somebody, it's just everything, people are receiving you well. If you're building a business, the pipeline is rich and the phone calls are coming in. Just think about the best season of life for you when business was going incredibly well. And once you have that season, and you could be in it right now, it could have been last year, it could have been 10 years ago. I want you to think about what was one thing, and there may be several, but what was one thing, the most that you never missed on personally in your life? Was it your workouts? Was it sleep? Was it your nutrition? Was it hydration? What is one thing that you never missed on during that time, that best season of life? Now, once you have that, think about professionally. That same time of life, everything is flowing. You couldn't slow this thing down if you tried. People are receiving you well. Your energy is off the charts. Everybody wants to be around you. You're magnetic. Your results are just coming in. You're getting everything that you want. What is one thing professionally that you didn't miss on every single day? You made sure you did this one thing. Now, for most of us that are business owners, exposure is everything. People need to know who you are and people need to know what it is that you do. So typically, when I have this conversation, it's some type of exposure, whether that's a one-on-one, a sales call. It is those points of contact every single day, making sure those points of contact are done. So once you have your item personally and your item professionally, the next thing that I want you to do is rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. The past 30 days, how have you been showing up for those activities? Have you done them at all? Have you done them a little bit? Are you not missing? If you are below a 7, in fact, I would say if you're below a 10, this is where I would focus. This is the recalibration. Those are the most important things that are going to get you closer to where it is that you're trying to go. And if you look at your calendar and you don't have a lot of time for this, we need to start saying no or get these things done first. So what I find is that the vast majority of people don't need a major overhaul. What we just walked through is plenty. It's plenty to get recalibrated. It's plenty to get refocused because we're creatures of habit. And if we are not monitoring and prioritizing, there's two things that need to happen. These things need to go on your calendar. And then once they're on your calendar, when the calendar dings, you actually have to stop doing whatever you're doing and go do the thing that your calendar just told you that you're supposed to do, right? I see when I tell people to live by their calendar, that's how I get so many things done, in a day. The second part of that is when you actually have to do the things that your calendar has to say, right? So if you just prioritize those two things and you paid attention and you had awareness of like, why can't I get these things done? We are creatures of habit. You're not gonna, no matter how bad you want it today, if it's not on your calendar, if you don't have reminders, if you don't have sticky notes, when I'm instituting something new, like I do not leave where I'm sitting until those things are completed. They're the most important things. If you can start your day off that way and get them done, even better. But when I'm adding something new and I even have a note on my nightstand, because if I get all the way there and I'm ready to go to bed and I'm like, oh, I didn't do it. I didn't do it, then I don't lay down. I come back here and I finish those two things. Again, this is what it really takes. And if you mess up or you don't get to it, like not a big deal. Just start over again tomorrow. But just think about that. If you prioritize those two things, the most important thing for to make you a 10 out of 10 and the most important thing you need to do to get the results in your business, and you made sure you didn't miss not one time for the next 90 days. Just think of where your business could be. Just think where you could be, where your body could be, where your mindset could be. Now, if all of that, like if that didn't resonate, which I think it probably did for a lot of you, I just want you to stay right there. And you can come back and you can do the second part once you get that first part locked in. So the second part is a little bit more advanced. And this is something that I work on with every single client of mine. So I decided to leave corporate America. I actually decided about 9 years ago. Didn't pull the trigger until 7 years ago. Something just felt off for me in corporate America. It didn't matter how much money, the titles, the prestige. It just didn't feel like home. And I knew that true fulfillment was on the other side of it. And I would get a chance to utilize all of my gifts. And so I had a moment of courage and I left a huge job and a huge paycheck in corporate. Everybody said that I was crazy. I thought I was if I listened to them. But once I got true to me and I truly understood myself for the very first time, it was my definition of success, which was very, very, very hard to write. I realized that there's a better way. There's a better way to get things done every single day. And corporate America wasted a lot of my time. And so one of the things, again, so I coach entrepreneurs. I coach some celebrities in the country music industry, business owners. Sometimes they're executive teams as well. And it doesn't matter who it is that I'm having a conversation with. We put together a daily scorecard because life is coming at us and we're saying yes oftentimes when we mean no. And when we get to the end of the week or the month or the year and we're like, how did I miss again? It's because we're not laser focused on the key activities that are driving us to reach that goal. And the goal can be so, so big that it can be overwhelming. Right? I am nursing a sciatic. I'm not nursing. I'm getting treatment for a sciatic issue, but I would love to run my first half marathon after that. And I think about running 13 miles and go, oh my gosh, 13.1. And however, when you print off the schedule of running, I'm like, oh, this is all I have to do every week. Okay, I can do that, right? It's not as overwhelming anymore. And that's the whole goal of having a daily scorecard. It's taking your goals and reverse engineering them down and breaking them down into something sizable bites that you can show up for every single day and you can get a W on the board. You can complete those things. And then we track those things and we calibrate and we get better and better and better at those activities. But if you don't miss on those activities, it's going to be really hard for you to not make that goal. If you show up and do the key activities that are going to lead to that goal, I mean, we'll all be surprised that you don't end up very, very close. So the next phase of this, and again, if the first one resonated, this is part two. You can come back and watch this at any time. I'm not going to take this recording down for you. That's my commitment. Let me see if I can share a different screen. Okay, so here is a different screen. That's actually not what I want to show you. That's how we plan. That's my system for planning a week. Where are we here? Okay, so this is basically how to reverse engineer your goals. So just picked an easy number here. Let's say that you want to bring in an additional $100,000 over the next 6 months. In order to do that, you need 6 more clients. My first question is, do you know what your conversion rate is? Most people do not know their conversion rate, and that's okay. Something to pay attention to moving forward, though, right? Because this is how we can further calibrate our activities and what we focus on every day. So let's just say that your conversion rate is 8. So I have to have 8 conversations for somebody to say yes right now. Doesn't mean that they're not a yes in the future, but I need this $100,000 in the next 6 months. So I need to have for every 8 conversations, 1 person is ready right now. So that means I need to have 48 conversations, which breaks down to 4 conversations every single week. Well, then the next question that I have is, where are you going to find those conversations? Are these people that are in your CRM? Are they in your pipeline? Are they followers on social media? Are you going to do free webinars? Are you going to do networking events? Are you going to put posts up? How are you going to generate enough interest and contacts? 48 conversations is a lot of conversations. Are you going to cold call in the DMs? And so, when you think about where are those going to come from, then we start thinking about the activity that we need to prioritize. And depending on what your life is like and what your business is like, where these conversations come from, or should come from. I would also say that if you're a business owner and when you're listening to this and if you feel a little stuck, think back or go through like the last 20 clients that have come in, or 5 clients, or whatever number, and see where they came from. That's the fastest way to bring more revenue in, is if you'll probably find a trend of where these people have come from. So why not just go do more of that, right? Why not put the money or the dollars or the attention in that area if that's the type of clientele that you want? That's another question, right? So think about the activities, and then that becomes your daily scorecard. So this is an example. The daily scorecard is like, okay, I'm going to post once. I'm going to reach out to 30 people every single day, whether that's going through my CRM and sending text messages or emails, or the DMs and social media. My goal is to have 1 connection call every single day, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to follow up with 5 people every single day. And if I do that, and I stack days of completing that, that's what I'm talking about here. That's how you focus. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. And then you just do it. Then you go over to your calendar and you go, okay, well, where am I going to prioritize this? How can I make sure that I absolutely never, ever, ever miss on this? Because these are the most important things that are going to get me closer. And if you don't know your conversion rate, and you don't know exactly, am I sharing the right screen? I think I am. That's all okay. That's all part of an experimentation process too that we go through. All of my clients, if we don't know what those numbers are, is that we don't sit around. We have to have data. We have to have data to be able to figure that out. So maybe we just try a bunch of things until we get results, and then you can have the data and you can review. Okay. The last thing that you want to do is just sit around. The last thing you want to do is try to have a perfect plan, or let somebody else run your schedule. These are the most important things. And if you can have the discipline to get up every single day and complete these things, then that's freedom lives on the other side of that. Right? Now, if you get to a point where you're like, man, I just cannot, it's like 3 days in a row and I cannot complete the scorecard, or I am absolutely exhausted, this is not going to be something that's sustainable. Every single system that I put in, whether it's for an individual or it's a company, there's 2 questions I ask. Is this sustainable, and is this reproducible, right? Because this should be taught throughout the organization. And if you can't show up for this every single day, then I would encourage you to take a look at your calendar and see. And what can you take off your plate? Ask yourself a simple question: is this getting me closer to these goals? And if these activities are getting you closer to these goals, then great. Another question would be, can I do these things faster? Or am I the right person to be doing these things? Because some things that's your zone of genius. That's for another conversation. But some of these things you have to do because this is your thing. But there's so much other stuff that you could outsource. So I'd always ask myself, like, okay, can I do this faster? Can I outsource this? Should this be a Kristy activity? Should I be, hiring a contractor for this? Should I outsource this to somebody who's on my team? Or should I be cutting this right now? Right? Do I need to slow down in other areas of my life or scale back on the social activities or my commitments over here because I have got to get this thing down? And that is what winning looks like, my friends. You have to prioritize you. You have to prioritize the high paying activities. Okay? So this is all mechanics. And, when I'm hired, it's because somebody wants to get from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. And they maybe well up on the mountain, and maybe we're just going from the bottom of a peak to the top of the peak. And we just got to get there. And what I'm talking about right now is mechanics. This is scorecards, this is routines, this is systems, this is discipline. And no matter how easy or hard this is, we can make this happen. Now, the reason I left corporate America was because I was doing the mechanical side for my entire life. I grew up in a one-stoplight town, Midwest town. I was just raised to be a workhorse, and it was almost as if, not almost, I had an association to the harder it was, the more like I felt like even better about what I was doing, right? I did a good job because I did something hard and I got through it. Oh boy, that gets tiring over time, and sometimes there's no fulfillment in that. And so when I decided to leave corporate America, it was because there was a lot of things that was out of alignment. And again, we can get results and be out of alignment. It's just a matter of like, what happens when we are in alignment? Well, that's where peace and joy and happiness can live alongside of the mechanics and getting the results that we want. So, like, what if you actually enjoyed all the activities that you did as well, right? And so when I work with somebody on going into alignment, we work on what's out of sync, and most people don't know, but I will tell you that 95% of the people are out of alignment somewhere, and we don't know that we're out of alignment. You may feel stuck. You may feel like you just can't get to where it is that you're trying to go. You feel trapped. All of those things tell me that there's a misalignment somewhere. I use things like human design and a couple of other systems that have been proven, and I'm still blown away. But it helps people immediately learn who they are, learn how they work best, and learn how they make decisions. A lot of people just don't trust themselves. We work on how to identify and override self-sabotage patterns. So if you've seen any of my work on the rise reflex, we all have this thermostat that was set in childhood. And when we are rising to a higher level, we're going to get pulled back down to that thermostat that was set. It's what the nervous system's job is. And so being able to see how you self-sabotage, and I'm telling you, you may pick a fight with somebody. Like it may be like you're ready to close a big deal and get this big paycheck, and it's going to take your income up to a new level, but then you start a fight with your wife. These are things that are hard to spot. But there's a few categories. You may get sick, you may procrastinate. This may be where imposter syndrome comes in. You may pick a fight. There's so many ways. From the outside looking in, it's very easy to spot. We put a plan together so that you can rise and we can hold the heat. It gets uncomfortable, but once you get to that next level, then you're out of all of that. And then after that, that's when all the mechanical stuff, and I've showed you just a small piece of it. We layer all of that on top. And again, I ran the mechanical side and got really, really, really good at it when I was in corporate America. I just didn't have the peace and the joy and the happiness that I knew that I could have. And I was working way too hard and way too much because the environment called for it. But there was a better way. I just couldn't do it in those confines. And so I just want to share with you that you may see if you follow me on social, I have a 12-week program called Unleashed. This is open for both men and women in this cohort starting on September 10th. The foundation of it is alignment. Then we activate with all the high performance systems, and then we accelerate with even other things that the top 1% do. This is a program that starts on September 10th. I do have one-on-one coaching available. I do very small groups. This is very small groups. We'd have a conversation beforehand just to make sure it's the right fit. Nope, there's no pressure at all. I want this to be the right fit for you and the right fit for me and the right fit for the group as well. I keep this very small. There'll be 8 people in this group. If it's something that you're interested in, you can go to Unleash with Kristy and take a look at that landing page. There are testimonials there. The first couple rounds of this. So I've been testing this framework for the past 7 years, and this is everything I do with my one-on-one clients. For those that that price point does not make sense for the high-end clients, the group coaching is a great opportunity and a great community as well. And always here to answer any questions that you may have. So I'm going to open it up for questions now, and I'm going to stop this recording so that that can be private. But I appreciate you being here. If there's anything else any questions I can answer after the fact, please reach out to me, and I hope you have a great day. I hope this helped.